and I'd like to thank everyone who has spent some time to join us today for this session. My name is Michael Kagera. I'm the partnerships lead at the Yusudi Sales Academy. So Yusudi Sales Academy is under Yusudi, we are a sales community, and we've built a community over the years since 2016. And our main purpose is to do recruitment for our partners. And also we train the youth who have come out of universities and are looking for career opportunities, specifically in sales. And we're able to place them also in our partners. So this partnership has been between 4BM, and what we're trying to do is work with NGOs, learning institutions, just to be able to provide opportunities for the youth, be able to upskill themselves, such as these sessions that you see here. And also we do career fairs out and about. So in case anyone is interested to learn more about the Yusudi Sales Academy, we have cohorts running throughout the year, and you want to learn more about it and also apply for the next cohort, I'll be sharing details in the chat. Without much further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker today, who is Maggie. She's the recruitment lead at Yusudi. So I mentioned there's another part of Yusudi where we recruit for other companies, such as Glovo, Subculture, and other opportunities that you may hear about. We'll be sharing that with you also. And she will be taking you through this session. I'll give her this opportunity to just tell you what to expect. So Maggie, I hand it over to you.
Thank you, Michael. Guys, give me 1 minute so that I can be able to share my screen.
Sure.
Okay. So I hope that this session is going to be interactive. Like any other interview, I am going to start with introductions. So my name is Maggie. Currently I'm the project lead at Yusudi, but then I have been recruiting for quite a while. I have 3 years of experience spanning across BD and recruitment being what I enjoy the most. And I am going to take you guys through the interview tips specifically for introverts. And for me, I hope that this session is going to be a session whereby we get to learn from each other, and also we get to relearn the things that we already know. Okay. I'd be glad if we can be able to chat and utilize the chat box. So just tell us where you're joining us from, your name and where you're joining us from. Michael is going to help me with the chat, I guess.
Yes, I will.
Awesome. So when you have an interview, what's your first reaction? I think for so many people, they get anxious. Others, they have this feeling of, I can't believe I'm doing this again. And then for others, they are so nervous. It cuts across both ends. It cuts across the interviewee and the interviewer. But then the biggest thing is we all need to prepare. When we get the interview, it's a time for preparation, both for the interviewee and the interviewer. And the first thing, according to me, for introverts, when they are preparing for the interview, is they need to research. Immediately you get the invite to the interview, you don't want to show up unprepared, and you need to research. So that I categorize the research into several things. And the first one, according to me, you need to research about the job description. For any role, they're going to provide the job description, and you need to have a look at the job description. For example, if you've had an opportunity to join or to be part of any interview process at Yusudi, the first question, especially for junior roles, we will ask you is, so have you gone through the JD? Any questions or concerns that you have? If a candidate says that I wasn't able to go through the JD, at any point, the recruiter is not able to continue with the interview, because it means they do not understand why they are there at the first place, at the first point. So you need to research about the job description. You need to separate the meat from the bones. You need to skin it as much as you can to understand the nuances of the role, because that's the role that you're coming to do and you need to understand it. It's okay if you have questions regarding the role, but you need to have looked through the JD as much as you can. The other thing is you need to research about the company. If, let's say, for an example, you want to interview at Usudi for a role that you've seen online, so you need to know about what Usudi does. That does not mean that you copy and paste what we have put on our website and you come and say, this is what Usudi does. We are aware of what is on the website. We just want to see, based on what you have researched and based on what you have seen out there, what's your understanding of what we do? It's okay to be wrong and it's okay to come and ask for clarification, but we need to see that you did a bit of research. The other thing is you need to, this is actually blocking my view. You need to research about the interviewer. Either the interviewer, in rare case, is you will find the interviewer being one person, but in most scenarios, there are usually 2 or 3. You need to find at least an information about one person in that panel or in the interviewer or the guys who are going to interview you. You need to find an information, because I'll give you an example. For junior roles, recruiters are different. When you meet me, probably I won't ask you, what do you know about me? But you might meet another recruiter and they want to see that you did your research beyond the JD and beyond the company. They want to see, what else did you do? What else did you try and dig out about me? Because obviously my information is not out there, but at least my professional information can be found somewhere, probably LinkedIn. So someone can ask you, okay, tell me about me. What do you know about me? So you don't want to be caught unaware. You have to prepare about the interview. At least know an information about one person in the panel. You don't have to get all the information about who is going to be in that panel list, to be on the safer side. The next tip is you need to prep. Now, I don't think introverts, overconfidence is more common with extroverts as compared to introverts. But then as an introvert, you really need to prep and prep thoroughly. There are companies that offer the prepping session. For example, at Usudi, any recruiter that engages with you, they do offer prepping sessions. So if your interview is scheduled to be on Tuesday, for example, they'll request to have a prep session with you on Monday and tell you about the hiring manager, his or her demeanor, the things that you need to look out for, the things that you need to prepare thoroughly, the things that you need to be keen at, such things. But then at times, we forget to prep candidates, especially when you have loads of work, loads of projects that you need to handle. Sometimes you forget to prep candidates, and it's okay as a candidate to reach out to your recruiter and request for a prep, and they'll be able to do that either in person, virtually, or even through a call. Another thing is, so that's recruiter. Another thing that you can use to prep is you can use a friend. So find out in your friend list who is as blunt as possible, because you don't want to get a friend who can't tell you the truth, and then try and rehearse the things. You can tell your friend, ask me about this role and see how I'm able to answer it. That's part of the prepping process. It helps you know the things that you need to sharpen and the things that you need to, what's the word? The things that you don't need to say in the interview session, because sometimes when you're doing it alone and when someone else comes in to listen to what you're saying, they're able to say, honestly, I don't think that's important. So you need a prep session. The third thing is showing up for the interview. I did put up this quote, my quote, obviously, that don't be cheated, both looks and the talk equally matter. How, let me go to the first thing, that's dressing. How you show up for the interview is really important. Whether the interview is virtual or in person, you need to look the part. You need to represent your brand rightly because you are the brand that you are seeing. Most of the time, our interviews are usually virtual, and most of the time, you might find the interviews are virtual, not unless to the second stage whereby you need to be there in person. You don't want to show up with probably a cape that looks like it's a sleeping cape, or a cape that ile ya baridi. I don't know if you guys know those kofias. You want to look presentable. It doesn't matter what you're wearing at the bottom because you're not able to see that part, but the part that you are able to see, you need to look presentable. The other thing is your background. As much as possible, have a clear background. If that's not possible, there are lots of virtual backgrounds available via Zoom and even Google Meet. You can be able to blur your background. You can be able to use every sort of background that you can come across as long as it looks professional. So try as much as possible. If you're in a setup that's not so professional, use a virtual background. It makes you look more presentable than just coming in and there are lots of activities that's happening around you. And also, please let your family members know that you're having an interview to minimize interruptions, because like any other person, a recruiter can easily be offended when all of the time you're like, please give me a minute, because you're also trying to salvage time. The other thing, I can't just see, is this should be lighting. You need to be in a place that has good lighting. We need to be able to see you. Don't be in a dark corner. We can't even be able to see your face. Probably the only thing that we can see is your teeth. Sorry for such a sentiment, but we need clear background. Another thing, when you're using your phone to join any interview and it's virtual, try as much as possible not to have your phone as portrait mode. Put it in landscape. It makes the view better than in portrait. So this is what I mean. Give me 1 minute. So don't have your phone this way when you're joining an interview. Please have it this way. So this is landscape. So you place it in a stable place in this mode. The other thing, the final thing, is communication. Work on your communication skills. Please work on your communication skills. Work on your communication skills. You need to be articulate. You need to be heard. So don't murmur. Present yourself in a way that everyone can be able to hear you. I hope that makes sense. Let me go to the next slide. Sign off. So this is what I was thinking when I put up this slide. So I believe at one particular point you had a visitor. So what did you prefer? Did you prefer calling the visitor to find out if they arrived at their destination, probably their home or where they were going next? Or did you calling you to let you know that so-and-so, I actually arrived safely and thank you for your time? I prefer the latter one. And that's the same case with recruiters. Immediately you're done with an interview, please sign off. By signing off, I mean, do an email, draft an email. I'll tell you for an example. All the candidates that I have interviewed and then they send me an email later on to say, thank you for the chat. I really enjoyed the chat. I look forward to your response. As agreed, I tend to remember them. I think it's a psychological thing. I can't be able to explain it better, but you need to sign off, especially because you're an introvert. You know that point whereby you're having the physical interaction. I believe for most introverts, it's one of their hectic moments. They are like, finally, I'm done with this thing. When you're finally done with this thing, remember the thing that you're strong on, and which is communicating without the physical interaction. So draft a nice email and send it to the recruiter or the hiring manager, just saying, thank you for the time. I look forward to the feedback, depending on how you are graded. The other thing, and this is most common with junior roles, and I believe the majority of my listeners are between 3 to 6 years of experience or 0 to 6 years of experience, I believe. is immediately you're done with your interview, please log out or log off the Zoom room. I'll tell you why. When we've said, okay, bye, thank you for your time, we will keep in touch, we will let you know about the next steps, we expect you to log off. With all honesty, we expect you to log off so that we discuss what you just shared with us, so that we know if we're proceeding with you or not. So when you don't log out, you force the host to sign you out, and the recruiters are usually like, what just happened? Why didn't that candidate log out? So just when you're done with the interview, log out. Then spend that time, as they're spending time to debrief, spend that time to also draft your email. Okay, I'll move on. To slide 7 about our program, which Michael has talked about. And the final slide is explaining this slide in detail. Okay. Here we go. Final thing, sentiment, before I take questions. It's this, I don't know if you guys can be able to see the screen. So down here, there's a verse that says, it's Proverbs 69. Proverbs 69 in, I love it in the Amplified Bible, says, to paraphrase that, let me look for it, says that man plans and God accomplishes. So after all this, after this amazing session, please remember, I think I wanted to say something. I have met introverts that, what's the right way to say this? Being an introvert is actually not a disability, for lack of a better word. It's just your personality. And I don't know how many of you have been able to get jobs that says specifically introverts to apply, or specifically we are looking for extroverts. I have never come across such a job description. So it means if you don't like, and introverts loathe interviews. They loathe interviews. They are okay to chatting via email. They're okay sending a text. But immediately you tell them, let's have an interview, they cringe. So you need to do an extra thing. You need to be more prepared than extroverts. You need to have your A game. And the things that I have shared with you guys, some of those tips, thorough researching are going to put you on the edge. Prepping, please prep. You may never know. Someone can help you. For example, if a recruiter tells you the demeanor of this hiring manager is they prefer people who are short and to the point. So if you're someone who likes stories and you didn't prep earlier, you're likely to throw them off the balance, because they'll be like, okay, what kind of a candidate is this one? But if you're sure of the demeanor of the hiring manager, you're able to keep your points short and to the point, just the way they like it. And also remember, just to touch a bit about communication, these are some of the things that skipped me. When you're communicating, it's okay to, how can I draft it? Know that you're dealing with humans. Recruiters are not robots, neither are they demigods or semi-humans. They're just human like you. We know you are tensed. I am also tensed doing this presentation. I am so tensed. But as much as possible, try to be articulate. Try as much as possible to be accurate. Provide accurate data. Be honest in the things that you're saying. Because remember, after the interview, if you move to the next stage, they're going to do reference checks and background checks. So you also don't need to tense and then say information that are wrong, because when we're going to do background checks and reference checks, we will need to verify the information that you told us. So as much as possible, the things that help you calm down, you need to do those things before you get into the interview. And it's okay when you get into the interview and you're tensed, it's okay to say, you know what, guys, I am so tensed. Give me 1 minute to calm down. We will give you 1 minute and then let's start. And it's okay to be tensed. It's okay. Remember, recruiters are human beings. They're just human. The things that you go through, probably they go through as well. So just take this as a normal thing. I honestly believe that if you have the attitude of, yes, I am an introvert and this is my personality and I can't change it, but it cannot limit the far that I can be able to go. It cannot limit the heights that I want to achieve in my career, then you're able to see a shift. But as long as you have this mentality of, I am an introvert, probably I didn't get the job because I'm an introvert, I don't like talking to people, I don't like expressing myself because I'm an introvert, you already have a preformed mentality and no one really cares. No one really cares you're an introvert. As long as you're able to come in and deliver on what you've been hired to do, that's all that matters. I am going to post there, take questions, because I'd want this to be as interactive as possible and less of me talking. So let me just look through the chat. Thank you, Kevin. Oh, someone, wait a minute. Were you guys seeing my screen?
Yes. You're seeing.
Okay.
There's a question from Kelvin Cheriot. He's asking, how can one create a rapport during a virtual interview? Like, I being an introvert, I would just give a straight answer and keep quiet. For some interviewers, it feels awkward and portrays inefficient communication.
It really depends. You know, I take an interview as a dating site or a dating platform. It's actually a date night or a date lunch, whatever you want to call it, or even a coffee date. How I want to see an interview is when you're trying to pursue someone and then you invite them for a coffee. Honestly, you'd not want to take someone out and then they ask you, so tell me about yourself. And you're like, my name is Kevin Cheriot and I am from Nairobi. Then you're done. So what's next? What do you mean? You're trying to pursue this person. So you need to, if you have the mentality of an interview as a dating, a relationship kind of thing, when you're trying to pursue someone, you'd see it in a different perspective. So for example, you're saying 3 questions that can never lack in an interview. Tell me about yourself. You must introduce yourself no matter where you go, no matter how they phrase the question. It would be important for you to introduce yourself. They've never met you. The other thing is it would be important for you to tell us why you want this job, the motivation. And the last question is always about compensation. We need to know if we can be able to afford you. Back to Kevin's question, giving a straight answer and keeping quiet. See the mindset of relationship kind of thing. You're trying to pursue someone or someone is trying to pursue you. Which is the case in this scenario, because a company is trying to pursue your skills and you might decide to say yes or no. So in any scenario, you don't need to be, because I feel giving straight answers and keeping quiet ties down to just being afraid. You have not to be afraid. If you want to get anything in life, you need to work on your confidence skills, which is very important. So let's give an example of, tell us why you want this opportunity. Probably the answer is because I want a job or because I want money. We all know that's the truth, but it's not the best way to say that. It's just being too straight, too informal. So what's the best way to say that? I have done my attachment. List down your expertise during the attachment and say even about the company. See it as a relationship. See that someone is trying to pursue you and they want to know you. The way you're usually excited to respond to their text message, to their calls, is the same way. But in this case, you need to do it in, you need to ration the portion so that you're not oversharing and you're not undersharing. Kevin, does that answer your question? Okay.
Okay,
Michael,
there's another one
you
from
can take the other question.
Francisca. Let me just get it. Says sometimes a job vacancy does not mention the organization. So how do you research about the company or the recruiters?
Amazing. If the job vacancy does not mention the organization, for example, they say our client, our partner, or such terms, usually two things happen. The client is not okay, the recruiter or the recruiting company revealing information about them. So what happens for you to research, just research about the recruiting company and what they do. But then when you get to the interview, please mention to the recruiter. Some of them, they will mention to you beforehand, but if they don't get to mention, please mention to them that, okay, in the job description, you didn't mention the name of the organization. Is this something that you're willing to disclose to me at this particular point? Trust you me, they will tell you the reason they're not willing to disclose, or they will tell you at this stage, this is the company that we are hiring for, so that the next interview, because an interview does not end with a recruiter, so that the next interview, you're able to prepare and research for that organization.
Okay, Engineer Elisha asks, is it merit to fathom to deep language, like extraordinary English, during an interview?
What does that mean?
Like, is it in order to use big English, like the...
Oh, okay. For what sense? It's okay to throw juggles here and there, but if that will make me not understand you, it's better not to use that. Just use the basic English, but throw in your juggles here and there. It's okay. But then don't complicate it so much that I need to, okay, what did he just say? You know, let me tell you one thing. You don't wanna bore a recruiter in the first 10 seconds or 1 minute. And let me tell you how you can easily bore them. It's in the introduction phase and you're already throwing juggles or using the extraordinary English that Elisha is talking about. The next thing that usually happens, the recruiter is like, I made a mistake with this candidate. Or they'll be like, let me give them a benefit of doubt. So let me just go with the flow and see how this goes. So you're trying as much as possible not to bore a recruiter. And that doesn't mean you don't be yourself, because I think for interviews, a lot has been propagated that you need to portray this particular person who is perfect, has no flaws. That's not the right thing. You need to be who you are, but you also need not to bore anyone. Back to my what's the word? Back to my example of a relationship and you're trying to pursue someone. When you go for a date and the person is the only one who's talking, who's telling you all these good things that they have done, they are being so braggadocious. What usually happens, the other partner is bored and they will even start getting out their phone to look through WhatsApp and see who else they can tell to give them a call so they're out of that date. It's the same case in an interview. I don't want to get in and I have all these things I'm telling you about the role. I'm telling you, so we are working with this company. This is what you're doing. That's not what I brought you here to do. I also need to give you an opportunity to talk. The same goes when we exchange sides. When I tell you to introduce yourself, use the extraordinary English, Elisha, that you want to use, but use it in limited portion, in a way that I'm able to understand you, in a way that a basic person is able to understand what you're saying. But say the points that matter, be short as you can, and give an opportunity to the other person. It just works that way.
Okay. Alan asks, how do you respond to the salary expectation question?
Salary expectation question. You just answer, what do you want? There are sites like Glassdoor. There are so many sites that you can be able to look for salary reviews. This is what I usually say. In my time of recruitment, and this is from an honest point of view and not to bash anyone, for all the senior roles and the C-suite roles that I have handled, they don't go through the corners telling you what they want. But for the junior roles, when you're hiring for an internship position for 1 to 3 years of experience, they take you through the corners. They tell you, tell me what's your budget? Tell me, what do you want to pay me? Honestly, I have never understood it, because this is what I say. As Alan, as Otieno Alan, what are you comfortable with? And for that, there are so many things that need to be in perspective. Are you paying for a house? Are you paying for a Wi-Fi? Do you need transport? So putting all these things in consideration, factoring all these things, and the little research that you've done, probably for an internship role, you've asked for, in this company, what do they pay interns? You've not been able to find that information. And as Alan, you're okay to survive. If we give you 10,000 Kenyan shillings right now, you're okay and you can survive. Then get into the interview room and say, I am comfortable with a range of 10,000 to 20,000, but I'd also be open to hear what budget you have for this role. What budget had you set for this role? You just need to know. I know the fear is you don't want to underquote and you don't want to overquote. Let me tell you the truth of the matter. I am a recruiter. I have been a recruiter. There are candidates that overquote, that underquote what the client has had in mind. For example, there's a role we are doing and the budget extends till 2 million. And the candidate says, I'm okay with 900,000. We usually tell the candidate that, you know what, you're on the lower side of the client's budget. Are you still okay to proceed with that amount? And they say, yeah, I'm okay. Money does not matter so much. Other things matter. So you just need to know, as Alan, what are you comfortable with and what's that? Honestly, the thing of chasing people round and round, it's more with the junior positions and less with the senior positions. If you ask me, I know a lot of people say if you quote the amount, they're likely to give you less. It really depends. Especially if you're working with a recruiter, you don't want to chase them. If you're working with a hiring manager, probably the first thing would be, let them tell you about the budget that they have in mind. Then you pick what you want from the budget. But if you're working with a recruiter, and there's a difference, if you're working with a recruiter, please know the recruiter is not against you. The first time that the recruiter reached out to you, they thought that you're fit for that job. So the recruiter is for you. And the recruiter is sharing you to the candidate. So they need to paka you mafuta, they need to pamper your profile in a way that pleases the client. And if you tell the recruiter beforehand that this is what I'm comfortable with, and then they tell you the budget, and then you will be like, okay, let me think about what I want for this job. Go through the JD again, and then I'll let you know, I'll give you a call. And then you give them a call and be like, I told you I'm okay with 10 to 20, but I've had a look at that job. I want you to put in my notes that I want 35,000. Trust you me, a recruiter will put the amount that you want, and they'll be able to advise you and tell you, I know my clients. If we say this amount of money, they're not willing to give it to you. So let's work with this budget. I hope I've answered your question, Alan. Michael?
Okay, then somebody says, is it a good thing if you politely refuse to tell recruiters how much your current salary is?
Yeah. Honestly, very few recruiters will ask you your current salary, because it plays no impact to the role that you're coming to do and what you're asking. And this is the reason. A lot of companies do underpay, and a lot of companies, they're willing to pay more, but at where the business is, that's what they're willing to pay. And candidates are aware. So it all depends on the skill set, the experience that they have, and what they're bringing to the table. And based on that, they get to value themselves. But then you get candidates who are comfortable sharing their current salary. So someone will tell you, I am currently earning 100,000 and I'd want a salary, and for my next role, I'd want a 30% increase. So that's someone who's comfortable. But if you're not comfortable as Francisca, yes, you don't need to share your current salary. And there's a better way of not sharing your current salary.
Okay, thank you. Empatica is asking, if they ask a question and I cannot phrase my answer in English, is it okay to ask them if I can answer in Swahili?
Yeah, let me tell you an example. This is such an interesting question. There was a time we were hiring for a role. It was a BDR role, business development representative. So we got a candidate. The candidate had grown up in Mombasa, but then they were in Nairobi. So I realized the candidate was struggling to communicate in English. So I asked them a question in Swahili. You cannot believe it. The candidate was so fluent. The things that he was telling us was exactly what you wanted to hear. And then after the interview, I asked my colleague, why didn't the candidate just tell us that he's okay to have the interview in Swahili other than English? As far as I'm concerned, Kenya speaks English and Swahili. And if you're okay with Swahili, we can proceed with Swahili. If you're okay with English, let's proceed with English. And it's okay to mix here and there. You've also had me mix, and we're doing a webinar. What I'm just trying to say, be human. If Kizungu itapotea at some point, just use Swahili and continue like nothing happened. It's perfectly okay.
Okay, thank you. Zablon is asking, in cases of no response from recruiters after an interview, what is one to do?
Amazing. You need to follow up. Let me tell you, there are times when people are swamped up. You've also been swamped up at one particular point, and we forget. There are times I tell a candidate, I expect to get feedback by next week, Wednesday, and I'll be sure to reach you on Thursday. But then things come and I forget that I was supposed to reach out to you on Thursday. So if I told you I'll reach out to you on Thursday, don't remind me on Thursday. Send me an email or a text or a call or a WhatsApp message on Friday. Do it a day later than the day they promised. I'll tell you why. And probably this is only for me. Maybe a different recruiter will say a different thing. I've had an experience with a candidate. I told the candidate that I'll get back to you on Friday. Friday, early in the morning, the first thing that I'm seeing is their emails. Hey, Maggie, I wanted to see what's the feedback. I have not even, I told you I'll get you feedback today, but sending me a follow-up early in the morning, already I am ish about you. The next thing I fail to respond, and Sasaba, they've sent another email. They're following up. You don't want to nag anyone. If you send a LinkedIn message or you send a text or you send an email and they're not responding, trust me, they don't want to respond to you. Because someone, especially if you send a day later than the agreed, if someone said, I'll reach out to you on Thursday, you send a follow-up on Friday, they don't respond. Of course, most people might fail to respond on Friday because it's usually a busy day and people are trying to sign out of work. And then you send a follow-up on Wednesday or Friday, the following week, and they don't respond. Don't do it again. Two things: either the client has ghosted them, and so they need to know how to handle their clients, how to handle their candidates, and they'll come back to you, or it's probably there's something off with their recruitment process. So if you've done it twice and they're not responding to you, trust me, they've seen your email, not unless there's a technical difficulty with their email, or they've seen your message, your LinkedIn message, and just wash your hands like Pontius Pilate and move on.
Okay, thank you. So Kelvin has some comment. He's saying, as much as we are here to polish our confidence in interview, it is sad that employers haven't acknowledged introverts exist and they should accommodate them. Talking eloquently has always been perceived as intelligent, so introverts are judged immediately. they say the first words. Okay, I don't know if you've got any comments on that.
Yeah, I've gotten the comment. I think that's the world we are in. You know, being an introvert doesn't mean you're not sharp intellectually. Being an introvert, I have met introverts that are so sharp intellectually, that have high EQs. It's just that this, and that's what I was saying, there's this mentality that introverts have, that they are a kind of rare breed, which is not true. As much as you're an introvert, just that there are things that you prefer that extroverts probably don't prefer. You just need to know the balance. If you need to communicate, even if you're going to pitch your business, you're going to need to communicate, and you're going to need to be eloquent, because you're pitching your business, for heaven's sake. So it's not even the corporate world or employers. It's more of, yes, I'm an introvert. I don't like talking to people a lot, but it doesn't mean that I struggle with my communication skills. It doesn't mean that I'm not sharp intellectually. Yeah, that's what I believe, though.
Okay. We are ending the next 5 minutes. So the last two questions. What's your view on online applications that demand too much information and requires lots of typing?
What's my view? I think you okay, probably I didn't get the question rightly, but probably you're referring towards cover letter, or there are a lot of questions that you need to type. I know it's boring. Definitely, if I was job hunting and I need to put lots of information and create lots of profile, I'd honestly be bored. But if you really want the opportunity, and this is what you want to do, then it doesn't cost you to spare 10 minutes and fill those applications and feel exactly what needs to be filled. And that goes to, you're not blindly job hunting. Just need to know, is this exactly what I want to do? And then now you put your time into it. Because now if all the applications demand lots of information and require you to type a lot, then you're going to burn out and you're going to be exhausted, even mentally. So you need to know which ones you want to spend all your time applying for.
Okay, so the last two questions as we end. I just cleared uni. What are your thoughts on unpaid internships? And the next one is
interesting.
Like what? Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Maybe we can merge two so that we.
Yes. Can you please advise on written interviews?
Okay. So there was something about unpaid internships. We are honestly moving away from unpaid internships. There's a time that I had an opportunity to see through and was kind of a WhatsApp chat, and people were talking about unpaid internships. Honestly, I believe internships should be paid. People should be paid for their skills. People should be paid for what they're bringing to the table, because at this age, need to sustain themselves. And for you to fully maximize someone's skills and experience, they need to be comfortable. If someone is not comfortable, trust to me, they're looking for side hustles, things to do, and they won't give you full attention. And you need their full mind, you need their full energy. I believe, and I hope that's where the world is going to, that a place whereby interns are going to be paid. What was the other question?
What's your view on written?
And by the way, just to add on the paid internship, for our YSA program, our interns are paid. It's more of an internship because we take you through a training program, and then after that we link you to job opportunities, and the job opportunities usually pay. But then we are aware that the amount is usually not so big, because the starting salary is usually should be 32,000, Michael. I think so. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, it's 32,500.
Yeah, 32,500. Final question, probably.
The final one was, what's your view on written interviews? I don't know, probably it's vague, but just comment on it.
I don't know what this person wanted to mean. Written interview. At what stage? What are they trying to test? Or does this person mean assessments? If it's assessments, it's trying to test your personality and other things that probably are beyond your experiences. If it's written interview, in what essence? Because I've never had case studies. Case studies are meant to confirm what you have said really is what you've done. I think I've answered that question.
Okay, yeah. So
I think, Michael, if you can just allow me, let me take the final question that says, how do you gain confidence in an interview room? You prepare, you prepare, and you prepare. Confidence is not something that you gain overnight. You sleep and wake up and you have confidence. You prepare for confidence. It can be one of your goals that you want to do this year or you want to work on this year. And confidence is just small things here and there. When your friends are having a discussion, you stand up and you want to say something. It's something that you're intentional in building. You need to build confidence. For you to scale to whichever heights you want to, confidence is very key. Confidence, it's the key to anything. Honestly, I believe like everything in this world needs confidence. It needs confidence for you to walk into a hospital and tell the doctor, this is how you're feeling. It needs confidence for you to approach anyone and tell them about how you're feeling towards them. It needs confidence for you to draft your proposal, your business proposal, and sell it to someone for someone to buy into your idea. It needs confidence for almost everything. So you need to be intentional about gaining confidence and work towards it. Listen to people, do these small things that can help you build your confidence, make mistakes, and then rise up. Back to you, Michael.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So also to add on the issue of confidence in terms of preparation, I think as an introvert, it's important to, when you're preparing, also prepare on your voice. Because one thing that always keeps introverts off is when they're in an interview, then they're told that your voice is low, kindly repeat, then the tension starts. So when you're doing your preparation, just ensure that your voice is audible enough, you can be heard, so that the environment that the person was talking about, like the interviewers creating a favorable environment for an introvert, it's when your voice is as audible as possible, then the environment is going to really favor you. But if you are shy and you can't be heard, then they keep asking you to repeat. That is where the problem starts. So when you are doing a preparation, also ask the person that you're preparing to with whether you're audible enough for the interview. That's very important. And I don't know, Maggie, but I don't know whether it's also good to always arrive on the interview place a bit early, do some interaction, talk to one or two people, just to help lower the confidence. I don't know, what do you think about that?
I agree with you. I think especially if the interview is one-on-one, you want to get there a bit earlier, have a chat. Just know, probably when you're having a chat, they'll tell you about the company, things that you're not able to find online. So talk to that gate man, talk to that receptionist, just interact with people. If it's virtual, try and as much as possible to try the links. And thank you for bringing that up. Try to log into the links and see if they actually work. And then the actual day of the interview, you sign in at least 5 minutes earlier. It helps you calm down, and other than you trying to rush, trying to juggle things, and it's actually the interview time.
Yeah. And I think it's a myth. It's a myth that introverts are shy. I don't think it's true that introverts are shy. It's only that probably maybe the environment does not favor you just expressing yourself well, because it's very funny that when you interact with an introvert in a particular environment, then they go in a particular way that they feel they're favored. They become extroverts. Yeah, so it's not true that they're shy. Maybe the environment is what will make them to behave in a particular way. Yeah. So Michael, if you have any closing comments, so that we close.
for closing comments, I'd like to share another pointer that I usually think it helps. If possible, you can go and do research on the team members for the company. Probably one of them will be in your interview, and you can just look at their feed. You can even go on LinkedIn and look at their feed, see what they've been doing. Someone asked how they can be able to create rapport in an interview. You can even mention that you saw they shared some activity or they were in an event somewhere. This helps create rapport and shows that you have interest in the company. And you can even have something to talk about in the interview. And it makes, it even eases the tension in an interview. With that, I don't think I have anything to add. If you're interested in joining our program, I've shared the link there. We'll be sharing the slide. I think, Eric, you'll be sharing the slide with them.
Sure.
Yeah, so
the video too.
Maggie will give me the video too. So, and also details on how to apply if you're interested. Also, we'll be having other job opportunities that may come up from the recruitment team. We'll be sharing with you. If you're interested, you can also apply. That back to you, Eric.
Yeah. So guys, follow 4BM, Forgotten Bottom Millions on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all those social media platforms. And also follow Yusudi on all those social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah. And thank you, Maggie. This was very interactive. It was informative. And we're hoping to have you again. Yeah. So guys, next week also, same time, same place, we're having another session. We will share more details about that. For now, that's the end and that's it. Have a good evening. Have a good night. See you next Thursday. Thank you very much.